Welcome back to the TMR podcast. Today we review Black Widow, the long-awaited Marvel installment that's waited for almost, I think it was supposed to come out last year in April, and here we are in July 2021 with the latest release. Finally, Black Widow has a movie of her own. So, how was it? First off, let's get off to the technical side of it. Well, it's directed by Kate Shortland, and it stars Scarlett Johansson, Florence Pugh, Rachel Weisz, and David Harbour. It's set during the events between Civil War and Infinity War, where Black Widow is still on the run from the ones who pretty much opposed Captain America. Opposed Iron Man during Civil War. And I've waited actually for a Black Widow movie for quite a long time now, because she's been around the MCU, I think, for this year marks the 11th year. So pretty much as long as Tony Stark. This movie, in my opinion, should have been released way before actually Infinity War, because it's the perfect time, and I think it's the perfect gap in between. And I think at the very least they could have released it before Endgame instead of Captain Marvel, because in my opinion it's a far more compelling story. Because of course we all know that Black Widow is an interesting character, that she's been around for quite a long time and all that stuff, but she's never been truly given the spotlight. You've seen her in Iron Man 2, you've seen her in Captain America 2, Civil War, Infinity War, Endgame, Age of Ultron, the first Avengers, all that stuff. But she's never really gotten the ball and ran with it until now. This is her movie. This is her final movie, and basically it's the spotlight. It's the chance for her to shine on her own. So, what did I think about it? First off, before watching it, I did see some mixed reviews. Some people did like it, some people did not. It's basically pretty mixed. Some fans, they just really loved it, and I'm actually in between. I thought it was pretty good. It's not like the best MCU film ever, and it's not the most enjoyable one either, but I think it's a lot better than a lot of people are actually making it out to be. So let's get into the positives. First off, I like the strong family dynamic about it. I love the strong relationship that the film built between Natasha and Yelena, who's played by Florence Pugh. Great. And the overall dynamic that, despite how fake that family was, it was real in their minds. And then you could actually believe that when you watch it. And I think that's one of the best things that the movie has going for it. I actually liked the slower scenes more so than the faster action scenes, because it's the time that you get to marinate with these characters, to relate with these characters, that truly make Marvel stand out from the rest of their competition. And I still think that they nail that aspect here. I know a lot of, almost all of the Marvel characters are superheroes, but it's the fact that most of them are given a human side, are given a vulnerable side, and this film is no different. The quiet moments are actually all my favorite. And in particular, I think Florence Pugh and David Harbour steal the show. Florence Pugh is actually a really up-and-coming actress, and I think her performance as Yelena was actually really good. I liked her comedic timing. It's very funny. Her jokes about the pose was actually kind of great. And David Harbour as the Red Guardian, aka Alexei, was also very good as well. They both stole the show. They had a few dramatic scenes, they had a few comedic scenes, and I'm overall very happy to see them in the MCU. And spoiler alert, I'm happy to see them survive the events of this film. And I think that Florence Pugh will take the mantle of Black Widow going forward, since Scarlett Johansson's Black Widow is dead in Endgame. And I also think that we'll see David Harbour and Rachel Weisz again at some point in the MCU. But overall, these two were the standout for me. I think Scarlett Johansson gives her best performance as Black Widow, because this is her time to shine, and it's a good swan song performance from her. Her last performance as Black Widow, and I'll be surprised to see her in the future if she does come back. But if this really is it, then yeah, it's been fun. Okay, here we go into the negatives, I guess. Well, first off, I think there are a few problems that I did have with the film. Mainly, it's the fact that it's quite over the top. Look, I can buy it. If it's, your Thors, your Captain Americas, your Iron Mans, because they can fly. They're gods. They are super soldiers. Guardians of the Galaxy, I can also buy because, they're aliens. But Natasha is literally a human being. I don't care how much training she goes through or how much world saving she does. She cannot do half the stuff that she did in this film. Because I feel that this film had a chance to be really grounded the way Captain America, the Winter Soldier was. Really grounded, no over-the-top set pieces. Just, personal and really, to the point. But for me, this one, I think it didn't need to have like explosions every 2 seconds. And, just for our characters to escape it. I think that quite a lot of the action set pieces were way over the top. We were reaching Fast and Furious levels of unbelievability. It does work with the Red Guardian character, David Harbour's one, because he does take the super soldier serum. But with Natasha's character, it really didn't work because she's still a human being. Also, Yelena and also Melina, I think, are both human beings as well. So some aspects of it, especially the end fight, was a bit too unbelievable for me because, it's not really explained, and I don't think it's really warranted that normal human beings can survive big, massive explosions and all that stuff. I know we're talking about MCU and Marvel stuff here, but, they're human characters and they should be treated as such. More grounded, the better. Also, it never really explains why she did what she did in Endgame. The producers and the director did say when they were making this movie that it is a proper send-off to the Black Widow character, to Natasha, and it's going to explain why she did what she did in Endgame, why she sacrificed herself. I was waiting for that moment and it never came. Until now, I still don't know why she sacrificed herself, aside from the fact that she wanted to save the world. So I don't really get it. And it's a shame because Robert Downey Jr. got a beautiful send-off as Iron Man, and so did I think Chris Evans did as Captain America. Both of them got beautiful send-offs. But in terms of Scarlett Johansson, I think that it was a bit of a shame because she didn't get a send-off in Endgame and she didn't get a send-off here either. It's a bit sad to see, and it's a bit of a shame that it's never really elaborated upon why she sacrificed herself, because she did have a family to go back to. Now that you think about it, she did have a sister, a mother, and a father. So the whole argument that Hawkeye has a family and he was not the one to jump at in Vormir for the Soul Stone is not warranted anymore. So it's a bit of a plot hole right there, but it is what it is. Also, I thought the villains were quite weak. Taskmaster, look, I'm not too fond of him. I wouldn't say that I know him from the comics too well. I read a lot of Marvel comics when I was a kid, but Taskmaster never really came out of the comics too much for me and never really stood out per se. And I think they butchered him quite a bit here because they have their own twist of the character, and sometimes Marvel does this with a few of its villains or characters, and it doesn't really work in this one at all. And I think Taskmaster, at the end of the day, he was I think it was just wasted potential per se. I'm gonna spoil it right out of the front. It's basically the daughter of the main villain, who's played by Ray Winston, and it just falls into the typical generic MCU villain formula. And I'm not going to remember them. Marvel, at the end of the day, okay, as I said in the positives, that they do give a human side to these characters, which is really good. But the thing that they keep falling into, the trap that they keep setting for themselves, is the fact that most of their villains are so cookie cutter, so generic. You can only find a handful of them that, have a decent motivation. You can find your Lokis, you can find your Killmongers, you can find your Thanoses every now and then. But for the most part, out of the 24, 25 MCU films that we got, this one's one of the more forgettable ones, which is a bit of a shame. Guys, overall, it's an enjoyable film. It has its moments and it has its flaws. I think for the comedy, for the most part, it did work for me. I know there have been some complaints that some people wanted this movie to go dark, full on dark, which I do understand, and I wouldn't have minded to see some of the darker aspects of the MCU, just because everyone associates MCU with comedy or with entertainment. But I think it didn't bother me too much. The action did overstay its welcome bit for me. A lot of it was way over the top. particularly the last few scenes. I think that was borderline Fast and Furious for me. And without much explanation, she didn't take any super soldier serum, did she? Not that we know about anyway. And I wish it was more personal, more grounded the way a Black Widow film or a spy film should have been. But still, I think thanks to some memorable performances from Florence Pugh and David Harbour, who pretty much are the future of the Black Widow from now on, and also a strong family dynamic, I'm going to give it a solid 7.0 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for listening. And please, if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to like, subscribe, press the notification bell, and I will see you for the next review. Thank you very much.